There is one number in Canada that almost nobody can guess correctly, and I promise you, if you ask 10 different people right now, you will get 10 different answers, and most of them will be way off. I am talking about the exact net worth it takes to be in the top 10% of retirees in this country. Some people think it is $500,000. Some people think it is $5 million. Both groups are wrong, and by the end of this video, you will know the real figure, straight from Statistics Canada's own data, not a bank's marketing brochure. Welcome back to Canada Finance with Alex, the channel where we take confusing money numbers and turn them into something you can actually use at the dinner table. My name is Alex, and today we are cracking open Canada's wealth data to find out exactly where you stand. Before we get to the big reveal, let's quickly agree on what we are even measuring. Net worth simply means everything you own minus everything you owe. Your house, your car, your RRSP, your TFSA, all of it counts on one side, and your mortgage, your credit card, your loans sit on the other side. Whatever is left over is your net worth. And when we say median, we mean the person standing exactly in the middle if you lined up every Canadian family from poorest to richest. Not the average, because one billionaire can skew an average beyond recognition. The median is the real, ordinary Canadian number. So here is our starting point. The median Canadian family sits at a net worth of around $519,700. Half the country has less, half has more. But the top 10% line sits dramatically higher, and most people badly underestimate the gap. Geography plays a massive role here too. A family in British Columbia typically holds close to $773,000, while the same family in Ontario holds around $665,000, and families in the Atlantic provinces often sit at roughly half of what British Columbians have. The reason is almost entirely real estate. The exact same modest bungalow can be worth over $1 million in Vancouver and only $200,000 in St. John, New Brunswick. Which brings us to the single biggest factor separating wealthy Canadians from everyone else, and it is not income, and it is not education. It is homeownership. The typical homeowner in Canada holds roughly 18 times the net worth of the typical renter. Among Canadians aged 55 to 64, homeowners sit around $1.2 million while renters sit closer to $43,000. That gap does not shrink with age either, it barely narrows. Now, the number you came here for. The threshold to be in the top 10% of all Canadian households, across every age group, is $865,200. Not $5 million, not $10 million. Less than $1 million puts you ahead of 90% of the entire country. But since this video is really about retirees, the number changes once we narrow the focus. For families where the main earner is between 55 and 64, right on the edge of retirement, the top 10% threshold jumps to above $2.1 million. The gap comes down to one simple word: time. Decades of compounding in a home, an RRSP, and a TFSA quietly build wealth that looks unremarkable year to year but becomes enormous by retirement. And if you are curious how far the ladder goes, the top 5% threshold sits between roughly 1.6 and 1.8 million, while the top 1%, according to Canada's Parliamentary Budget Officer, now sits above $9 million heading into 2026. Here is the twist nobody expects. The people who actually hit these numbers rarely look wealthy. It is the neighbor with the paid-off bungalow and the 10-year-old Corolla, not the guy leasing a Range Rover. Quiet, boring, and remarkably effective. So next time someone at the family barbecue confidently guesses $5 million for the top 10%, you can just smile, take a sip of your coffee, and quietly know better. If this broke down a number you have always wondered about, hit subscribe, because on Canada Finance with Alex, we turn confusing financial data into real answers every single week. See you in the next one.